141 people here. Thank you, Marina. Aileen, do you want to say something first, or can Marina introduce?
Very, very quickly. So first, I think this is our second event of the year? Or first event of 2026?
First event of this year, yeah.
Yes, so woohoo. This is the first of hopefully many, but we are kicking it off strong. I am so excited to have Marina here. She'll introduce herself properly, but I want to call out a few things about Marina that I really appreciate. One is she has been at Google and Meta for a combo of almost 8 years. That is an eternity for recruiters in a good way. Most recruiters cycle in and out of companies, and their average tenure is like 6 months to a year. So Marina knows what she is talking about. She has also been a champion of non-traditional candidates for a very, very long time, also different than many recruiters. And she tells it how it is. We're so excited to have her here. I want to take this opportunity to ask her one question that I have been very curious about, and perhaps many of you are as well. And then we will kick it off to the question list. So, Marina, there is a lot of noise out there about optimizing resumes or getting through the ATS. Let's set the record straight. Do Google and Facebook use automated ATS scoring to screen resumes?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And I want to apologize. I'm losing my voice, so I'll try to be as loud as I can. But to answer your question, in 8 years of my recruiting experience at Google and Meta, I personally reviewed every application that was submitted. There is no ATS tracking system that kind of gives you scores. That's all myth. So please apply online. I always say that. Please apply online. You never know when the role is going to come. Maybe it's not today, but maybe next time.
Thank you so much for answering that. Please introduce yourself. I'm going to hop off the stage, guys. I'm going to hop into the chat. Thank you again, Marina, and so excited to hear the answers to the questions. Thank you for answering mine. See you guys.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm Marina. I've been a recruiter for 10 years in total. I started at the agency and then spent about 8 years at Meta and Google. Since December, I transitioned in a career coaching and I help software engineers land their dream jobs. That's it. As easy as that.
And hopefully we can help a couple of people do just that with some of the information and the answers you're going to give today. So thank you so much for being here, especially because you've lost your voice. You're very good to not tell us to reschedule. So thank you, Marina. I said I was going to go through the questions in order of upvotes, but there was one that I wanted to jump to because the person went and did their due diligence, went to your LinkedIn, and their question was, I read on Marina Petrović's LinkedIn that she created the code method, an alternative to star. What are the tips to migrate from star to code?
Yeah. So star method is great. And by the way, kudos to a person that read my profile, read my post. Thank you so much for supporting small businesses. But star method is great, right? And it keeps you on track during the interview. But what I found during, reviewing so many feedbacks for software engineers is that a lot of the feedback that I saw was that the engineer is technically strong, but they're missing, the trade-offs or the ownership, or they use we versus I, right? And that's where a little tweak that comes with code. So C starts with constraint, right? So you want to describe the picture, you tell the story of what happened, right? And that constraint helps you to kind of understand and, write your story the way it explains, like, what happened, right? What problem are you trying to solve? And that's where it starts the storytelling, right? You want to understand what happened first, like what problem we're solving. Then comes O for ownership. like what I owned, what I was responsible for, what I built, who did I talk to, what was decisions that I made. Then D comes for decisions, right? Decisions comes with, okay, I was thinking this, but then I was thinking about this trade-off, right? Why did I decide to go with this method versus the first one? So you kind of explaining your thought process there. And E goes for effect, which basically tells you the impact, right, your project made. And has it been implemented with other teams in your company? So it tells you like the long living impact of your work. And like I said, star is good for like, show the activity and just set maybe the points correctly, right? What happened during the project. Code helps you show like the signals for the leveling that you're targeting, because with each level, the feedback evaluated is looking for signals in your interview answers. Hope that
Where can people read more about code?
It's on my post. I'm still working on website, but you can see it on my posts.
Okay, cool. All right, we're going to jump back up to the top of the list. So this one got 20 upvotes. Congratulations to the winner of our unofficial upvote competition. It's on referrals. So how much do referrals matter in the current market? And how much weight does each level of seniority add to the referral?
That's a great question. And I want to break it in two. So let's answer the first part of that question, right? How much does the referral matter in the current? It matters. It matters a lot. Referral helps you with put eyes on your application early than non-referral application, right? For example, at Google, at Meta, recruiters had certain deadlines by when referrals need to be reviewed. So that gives you an early eye. Referral is important. Referral doesn't matter if you applied for the role that you're not qualified for, right? And that's where you wasting the referral. If a role says minimum qualification is 5 years of experience and you have 4.9, just based on compliance reason, I cannot move you forward in the process. So you want to make sure you look at the job description before you're using the referral. For example, at companies like Google, you only can apply for 3 jobs, right, with the referral. Don't waste it. Make sure you meet minimum qualifications. Make sure it's the role that you are qualified for. How much weight each level of seniority adds? Of course, it's great to get a referral from a software engineer that refers a software engineer. There's also ratings, right? Can you say, is it top 10 candidate that you worked in the past, right? There is also like some kind of rating that comes with that. So if you have a senior engineer that referred you to a software engineer role that you qualified for, and it gives you like top 10 engineer I work with, of course you have a bigger chances, right? Than other person with no referral. Also, referral with weight of seniority or weight of referral matters once you go through the interview process. Let's say you got kind of borderline, right? And they're evaluating the feedback and they're deciding, we're not sure, we're missing something. But if they see a strong referral, it might go in your favor. So yes, referral are important. You just want to make sure you apply for the roles that you qualified for.
So absolutely apply to the role you're qualified for, but the referral will essentially help you get to the top of the pile by virtue of the fact that recruiters are incentivized to look at those first. The top 10 engineer that you work with, that's the referral saying that you as the candidate are the best they've worked with, top 10.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then the seniority comes into play in sort of edge cases where it's, if they were referred by a staff engineer, they might get favored over a candidate without a referral or with a lower seniority referral?
Not necessarily, but if, let's say, when we come to the decision making, right? Where like we're not sure if it's yes or no, right? The seniority might come in place. Let's say if it's a former manager of this person who interviewed with us, and they give you like absolutely excellent referral. Then it's like, okay, that was a previous manager. They worked well with them. So we trust that person.
Okay, thanks. I'll give you a break from speaking for a second if you want to have a sip of tea, and I'll get on to the next question. In the current age of Claude coding, what are the new interview rounds, or how are the questions being asked? What are the changes that have been brought in? Before Marina answers, we just published a guide to Meta's new AI assisted round. Take a look at that, everybody. We're also trying to update all of our company guides with whether companies use AI or how those rounds have changed, etc. It's all moving pretty fast. I think Meta's AI assisted round is now completely. Thank you, Aileen. There it is. But what insight can you give us on this, Marina? I know probably a lot has changed since you left.
Yeah.
Both companies.
Yeah. So when I was leaving, they were just implementing that, and AI coding round was only at the final stage. So at the final stage, usually engineers have 2 coding interviews, and one of the coding interviews would be AI driven. But the goal, what I think one thing that I want to kind of emphasize for the AI coding interviews is that the main goal of the AI interview is not to figure out how well you use AI, right? The emphasis is still very strong on your problem solving skills, on your testing, on your coding, on your communication style. It's more about, can you become more efficient using AI? That's the goal of the interview.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much what we've covered in the blog. I mean, it's been interesting to see companies either adopt or staunchly not adopt Meta's. I mean, Shopify and a few others were a lot much earlier, but interesting to see Meta go.
Yeah. So now maybe with AI coding, now you're only solving one problem instead of 2, right? So that kind of takes pressure maybe off a little bit. But yeah, it's a real-time problem, right? You're going to be running the code. You're going to be testing it. You can use as much AI throughout the process or as little AI. There is an option to opt out as well. So
awesome. Thanks. I heard there's a peak hiring month for each company. Is it true? And if it is, what are the peak months for each of the FAANGs, or at least the 2 you worked with?
Yeah, it's a good question. So now is a pick, so go apply. Usually, I would say February, March is when the headcount is opening up, especially for mid-level, junior mid-level. I feel like senior staff level engineers are always in need. It's really hard to come by. It's really hard to pass the interview process at like senior staff level. So those roles are usually open all year round. During this time, February, March, up till May, I'd say, that's where the junior and mid-level comes in. So, like I said, apply now. Summertime, it usually wraps up kind of quieter, and maybe they'll open a little more around, I'd say, September, October, November time.
Yeah, and that tracks with our experience on the hiring side of our business as well. Okay, for an entry-level SDE candidate with 1 year of experience, what strategies would you suggest to get to the interview stage, other than just applying and tailoring the resume to the job description, etc.?
Don't just apply to anything you see. Be more strategic. It's hard, I know, but you need to just figure out what are you good at and what companies you want to work for and what companies are hiring, and just be more due diligent, right? Applying is great, but now we want to network. And I understand you might not have much network because you only have 1 year of experience, but you have a huge network from college, right? You went with so many folks there. Try to make connections there on LinkedIn, right? Hey, I remember when I was laid off, I was reaching out to Baruch alum, the college I went to. I didn't know the person, but she was the only connection I had in the role I was interested in. So I messaged her. I know you don't know me, but we went to the same college. Would you be open to refer me to this role? I meet the qualifications. And she responded to me. I had a call, I had a conversation with this company for that role. So use any network you might have. Check your phone. Check your connections. You might forget who you went to high school with and where they are right now. Start building those relationships. Reach out. Don't just ask, hey, refer me. Connect with them. Hey, how is everything? I haven't talked to you in a while. I feel like that's like the only way to kind of figure out your network and figure out where they can help you and what companies they work for. And if they have roles, send them that role. Be like, I qualified for that role. Do you have any connections there? Can you refer me?
Thank you. Do side projects matter to recruiters and hiring managers?
Yeah, well, depends. When we talk about side project, maybe on a GitHub, yes, especially if you're junior level, right, and you don't have enough experience. And if there is a GitHub link attached to a resume, I always click. I want to see repositories. I want to see contributions. And if that link is empty, I'm like, okay, what was the point of putting it, right? So be intentional with the links with the projects you work on. It can be relevant, let's say, if you are trying to switch from software engineer to ML engineer and you work on a side project developing machine learning models and it's on your GitHub. That would be relevant. But if you're at like more senior level, like at senior level, it's more about the judgment and about the impact you have and how you work with other people. So I personally wouldn't pay as much attention. I think it's more about industry experience at that point.
Okay. If you were in our shoes and looking to land a new role in the near future, what would be the first 3 things you focus on and why?
I was in your shoes. I was laid off. And it sucked. And I started applying on the first day, and it was a mess. You need to figure out like what roles you want to target. Like even for recruiter, there are 3 different positions that I could apply for, right? Could be sourcer, could be recruiter, could be full cycle recruiter. And for every job title, I had to have a separate resume. I had 3 different resumes. I've done all of it, but a certain company needs certain skill set. And so in order for me to stand out, I had to smartly use what kind of resume I'd be using in order for me to get an interview.
Okay. Does career gap questions. There's always a career gap question. It makes complete sense. Does a significant career gap of 10 years from caring for an ill parent prevent somebody from getting a job? Should I just give up and open a falafel cart? Or what advice would you have for this person? How can they talk to it during the interview process, etc., or stand out, cover it on their resume? Or is it falafel cart time?
I mean, falafel cart, why not, right? If that's what you're passionate about, might as well. But if you don't want to do it, don't do it, right? But in all seriousness, I mean, very transparent here. Yes, it would be hard, but it's not impossible. And maybe it will take a lot longer, but the way you address it, not with like apologizing for it, not being defensive about it, not over explaining about it. What you could say, like even in recruiter conversation, I took a break for the last 10 years, was taking care of my ill parent, but during that time, I was also practicing the skills, like Python programming. You can check it on like, I don't know, GitHub. Can you come in and, hit the ground running? So that will, it's more about like risk management on the company side rather than, you're not qualified. They will just figure out like how up to date are you with the technologies. But there is no need to be defensive or apologetic about the gap. Just one sentence. Yes, I took care of my father, but I was doing this, and that during that time. Now I'm ready to go. I think that would be enough.
The falafel cart sounds so tasty, though, as well.
I know.
I'm starving, actually. Okay. Is LeetCode all you really need? Somebody asked in an interviewing.io event with a speaker who's an expert at helping engineers stand out. I'm going to say no and push our platform, practice live on the platform. We don't usually do that, but what's the more sophisticated answer, Marina?
No, you also need systems design and behavioral interview nailed. That's the whole package, right? And LeetCode is not enough. I've seen engineer to go through an interview, solved both problems in 45 minutes, optimal solution, still got rejected. The reason is that they didn't say any single word during the interview. So what the interviewer is thinking is that, okay, you've seen the problem, you memorized the solution, but you have no idea how to solve it. And that's a red flag, that's a no-go. So no, LeetCode, memorizing LeetCode is not going to take you far.
Is it encouraged or discouraged to cold contact hiring managers for a specific position?
I encourage that. I think it's a very smart move. But you want to make sure that you meet the qualifications, right? Not you think I can do the job, or I've done it 10 years ago, or it's, I don't know, mobile engineer, and you've done mobile development in the last 10 years. I don't think that will cut anymore, because in the current market, and I know software engineers say, I've done it, I can switch, I can learn really quickly, but I feel like in the market we are right now is that we don't hire for potential anymore, right? They want some proof. And you competing against a mobile engineer who've done it in the last 3-4 years. So are you putting yourself in advantage in that position? Probably not. But I encourage, if you feel strongly about the position that they posted, that you qualified for, I would DM them saying, hi, just saw you posted this position. I'm really interested. And that's why. 3 bullet points, 1, 2, 3. Excited to continue conversation.
Even as the recruiter, it's okay to go around to the hiring manager.
Yes.
Good.
Okay, so let me say that. At FAANG, maybe it's not going to take you far. Because the way FAANG interviews is that it's more like general, right? And they're not interviewing you for specific teams, right? They interviewing you, and then the team matching happens after you successfully clear the interview. But other than FAANG, I would encourage.
Okay, good, because we've been encouraging it as well. So meta team matching. This person, it's taking months for them. They're not currently getting any other interviews, so this is obviously very important to them. How do they push the recruiter or anybody at Meta to push them forward and get through team matching?
So recruiter will be your main point of contact to move that needle along. Nobody else can do anything else. And the way you can increase your chances for team matching is that you open up location preferences, because sometimes New York City may have less openings than Menlo Park. Or you'll ask recruiter, okay, what teams are currently hiring? And if it's mostly like, let's say, ads monetization, then you want to see if you've done any ads related experience in the past that you can highlight on your resume. So you have to have very transparent conversations with your recruiter. They are the only one who can help you.
Even at the team matching phase, actually even going back to the resume and highlighting something that will work for the team that is actually hiring.
Because on the candidate side, they don't know, right? They don't know what teams have openings, and recruiters have that visibility. So now they can go back to a recruiter and say, okay, what teams are currently hiring? And they can say, okay, maybe Reality Labs had some openings, but they're looking for specific experience. Ads is hiring. So you want to make sure that your kind of resume has that keywords, because the way team matching works is, the managers are looking at your resume as well, as long as, the feedback.
Okay. Any advice for somebody seeking senior eng leadership roles? They're scarce enough. Everyone seems to be looking for a unicorn who can do a bit of everything: hands-on coding, strategy, people management, DevOps, AI. How are you telling people to stand out or frame their stories? What's your advice?
I think I want to get clarity on what do they mean about leadership roles? Is it like IC level roles, like a technical leadership, or is it people management roles? Because that would be a little bit different. But even for engineering managers, you still have to go through the coding interviews. But people management will be more important other than technical, right? For IC roles, definitely the technical part will be most important other than managing people, because you mentoring, right? You have a team of, let's say, 8 to 10 engineers that you work with, but you don't do performance reviews with them. It's more about be a go-to person for them for any like technical difficulty.
Okay. How do you network when you're unemployed, an immigrant, don't have much to offer besides time, coding, and words in an oversaturated competitive market?
I'm an immigrant, was unemployed. Don't have much to offer besides time, coding. It's hard. It's a hard position to be in, especially when you just recently moved to the country and you don't know, many people. You will have to be creative and figure out, how to find the right people to reach out to. It's all about, again, will be networking. Maybe somebody from your previous companies in your country moved to the United States, or somebody from, school in the past that is in the United States. Just reach out to them, be like, hey, just want to have a conversation, just moved here, feel a little overwhelmed. Can we have a chat? You never know what's going to come out of that chat. Try to use all the, folks you worked with in the past, went to school in the past, see who is in the United States, and try to build those like warm connections.
I wonder LinkedIn filters as well, things like that, looking for like alumni networks. Maybe you went to university, studied in your home country, moved to the States, can find people that went to that university that are currently at top companies.
You can, absolutely filter your university, the country they are in right now, and just start messaging. You might get a lot of silence, but there are a lot of nice people out there.
Thank you. How do you break through the noise and get eyes on your resume? Applying through sites like LinkedIn feels like a black hole. There's a couple questions in here, but how can I optimize my outreach? Let's start with, how do you break through the noise and get eyes on your resume? Anything you've seen that helped people stand out outside of matching the job description?
You need to be a sniper when you're applying for a job. Again, like, I don't want to sound like saying the same thing over and over, but as a recruiter, when I get a job description or like a job opening, my job is to present, if it's one role, my job is to present at least 3 candidates that fit that job, right? The reason the hiring manager hired me is that they don't have time to do all of that. So now I need to make sure that the profiles I present them meet what the hiring manager is asking on that job. So if the job description said, and I'll give you an example. I've talked to a client who said, my ATS score is 97% to every job description that I apply, but I still don't get any callbacks. Like, okay, I'm just out of curiosity. Let me just look at the last job posting, at the job application you submitted with 97%, whatever, right? And I'm looking at that job description, and in preferred qualification, it says data mining. And I'm like, okay, do you have any data mining on your resume? They go, no. I'm like, well, that's your lost opportunity right there, because as a recruiter, that's the first thing I'll be looking for, because when I go to my manager who asks me to have an engineer who has data mining experience, then, I'll be, when I write a little summary when presenting a candidate to the manager, I say, they have these 3 things that you requested. So you need to be very careful, paying good attention to the job description, making sure that your resume kind of reflects. But also, again, the same thing. You gotta reach out to people, network, but don't just ask, hey, can you refer me? Hey, can I have a 15-minute call? Nobody has time nowadays. People are slammed with work, layoffs everywhere, people doing 3 jobs at the same time, right? You need to figure out commonalities. Oh, I read your post. Oh, we went to the same school. Oh, we on the same GitHub project. Something in common. So they respond to you. So you stand out.
On the resume and the sort of skills matching, just off the top of your head, what percentage of resumes that you reviewed at Meta or Google looked great? Like they looked like good engineers, good experience, but just didn't match the role that they were applying to?
The thing is, when I worked at Meta and Google, I supported evergreen recs, right? That was the constant hiring, the generalist roles. We didn't have any specific deadline by when we need to hire. So if somebody had the backend experience, met minimum years of experience, I would get them on a call, no matter what. What I usually see, though, when I go through those buckets of applicants under the job posting, is that a lot of it is going to be out of country applications, international folks, which I cannot work with because due to visa situation. A lot of it are going to be intern applicants, like freshly graduated students who are applying for industry level jobs. Again, that's I'm pushing that away. That's a reject. So in that pile of let's say I review 100 applicants, I would say maybe if I'm lucky, I'll get a good 10, 1%. That's why I always say apply. Doesn't matter if you see 200 applications, apply. You never know. Because out of those 200 applications, I'm telling you, not all 200 are qualified for the job.
And now some of them are AI spam candidates too.
Well, yeah, I didn't see that as much at my years of recruiting. I've seen a lot of like C2C candidates, which we, corp to corp, which we didn't work much. That would be like more on a scammy side, but other than that, like I don't think I personally ever dealt with AI bot.
Yeah, I think it's probably happening more just based off the conversations we're having with the hiring companies. Aileen can probably talk to it in the chat, but yeah, it's definitely a thing and at a rate that's surprising. All right. So this person has heard that even after clearing interviews, there's a high chance the candidates are not selected, and they want to know why this happens. Sometimes the role will have closed, but do you have any thoughts on that one?
Yes, and I've had that. I remember when hiring freeze hit before like layoffs at Meta. We first experienced hiring freeze, and we had a lot of candidates in process that we just had to reach back out and say, "I'm sorry, but at this point we can't do anything. There's no roles available. We filled everything." So it could be hiring freeze, could be budget cuts, could be priorities shifted, could be a manager rushed to post a job without budget being approved, and then he went to finance team and the budget is not approved, and now we're taking that role down. But I already have candidates in work, so it's a lot of behind the scenes situation that could affect that. So don't take it personally. It's nothing personal. When recruiters tell you that something happened, it's not personal.
Okay. This person was laid off about a year and a half ago. Condolences. Obviously, a lot of people were in that same boat, but doesn't make it any less difficult. Will it affect their chances of being hired? And how should they explain the layoff and gap to recruiters and hiring managers?
Yeah, like I previously said, don't apologize, don't extra explain it, over explain it. Just one sentence. I was laid off, but during that time, I was focusing on this, and that, and now I'm ready to start. That's it. One sentence. Don't need anything else.
Okay. Okay. Despite excellent technical skills, are there any behavioral or social cues that indicate a bad fit in a team where you can't let it slide and it's a red flag? I mean, there's going to be some wild ones you could mention, but maybe some like less obvious ones that people wouldn't think about.
Somebody who is bashing the previous company. That's a red flag to me. I know we want to vent, but nobody wants to bring, negative energy to a new company. And if you talk to a recruiter like that already, what's gonna happen at the final stages on the behavioral rounds? Because they're gonna be, diving deep into those conversations. So that's one thing. Be nice to recruiters. I know we have our bad rap and we ghost and all of the bad things that we do. We can make a difference. We can make a difference in candidate's journey during the process. We can vouch for you. I remember, helping engineers redo their resumes so it better fits for the engineering needs. I would collect referrals and we on your side because your success is our success. We are driven on metrics as well. KPI is a huge thing. So if I reach out to you, that means I already, qualified you. Now we just need to make sure you're not crazy. Right?
there's been some comments on this in the chat. So was there a time when somebody explained why they left their previous company, but framed it in a non-bashing, non-negative way, even though you kind of knew they, got out of there because it was hellish? How would they frame that? Johnny, I'm checking in to see if you can type in exactly what you said, Johnny Appleseed, and I'll try and get it answered. But Johnny was kind of concerned that they came across as bashing a company when they were actually just explaining what went on there, which might have been pretty bad.
Yeah, you can say, I don't know. I worked at the company and they were studying, rework. I wasn't excited about the team I was joining, and decided to start looking for another job. Like, you don't need to go into detail.
And avoid drama, Johnny.
Yeah,
avoid your drama.
Avoid drama. Absolutely. 100% avoid drama.
Okay. This is one with 100K H-1B fee. Do we want to do that one, Marina?
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't seen the demand.
So I'll read out the question just for the audience. So with the 100K H-1B fee, how has the demand for hiring talent changed at companies like Meta and Google? And is it still possible to apply for a senior engineer?
Please apply. Definitely apply. And I don't think that affected much companies like Meta and Google. Please apply.
Okay. How do I get a call without a referral? Not me specifically. But
I mean, it's possible, right? It's a tricky situation. When you don't have a referral and you applied for a job, it just depends on amount of applications, of level of the candidates I have in the bucket. Does your experience tell me that you are at the level I need you to be? Right, it's at the senior level. Okay, you operated at senior level. You work with technologists I need. Like, you need to kind of, again, meet the requirements. And if you do, you get a call. But again, if it's one position, it's really hard. If it's only one position, like I said, I would need like 3 candidates to present. So reaching out to recruiters, again, working behind the scenes, not just apply and pray, but work behind the scenes and make yourself stand out, because maybe other applicants didn't do that, but you did.
Did anybody ever do cold outreach to you? I mean, we've talked about using sales tools like Rocket Reach and LinkedIn Sales Navigator to find typically hiring managers, to be fair, but were you ever reached out to by somebody who'd submitted a resume online and then they emailed you directly and said,
Yeah,
hey?
all the time. And I reached out to people like that.
When did you always reach out, or what made them stand out outside of their resume actually matching and maybe bullet points? But what made you respond?
It's like clear, concise, formatted resume, that clear bullet points, a clear summary, what the engineer, how many years of experience they have, what they specialize in. Clear, without any paragraphs, 3 pages, 15 pages that I need to read through. But again, with Meta and Google, I was the person that I didn't care how your resume looked. I wanted to make sure that you have at least, 5 years of experience, 3 years of experience, whatever the job needed that you have of industry. And then I will reach out to you. That's honest response. But in the sea of applications, the ones who reached out to me personally via DM or LinkedIn, they will catch my attention. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. You maybe I didn't get to your application yet while reviewing everybody, but you already messaged me. Okay, let's talk.
Okay. This person has 10 days to prepare and they want to know, do you recommend any resources or tips for Meta's newer AI-based coding assessment format? We just did a blog post on it, mentioned it earlier. Go check that out if this person is online. Is there anything? I know this interview type was released after. We've chatted about it a little bit. Is there anything else you know of that's out there that would be a good resource?
Yes, use interviewing.io. Great platform. It's a lot of resources.
I didn't ask this question, by the way. I didn't put it in there, but she's probably right. Thank you, Marina.
But I want
We'll leave it there.
But please use the recruiters. Use the recruiters because it's also new to Meta, right? They're still collecting data. They're still trying to understand what works, what doesn't. So use your recruiter as a resource. Be like, okay, what have you seen? What helped, like, for the folks that passed the interview, what helped them? Like, what stood out to you? Use them as a resource.
Awesome, thanks. And as Aileen just said in the chat, we're going to launch mocks specifically for the Meta AI assisted round very soon. There's more plugs for us in this one than we usually do. Sorry, folks. It's the start of the year. We're excited. Okay. If someone isn't selected after interviewing multiple years in a row, does Meta ever add them to an internal do not consider blacklist?
No, I've seen people come like 5-6 times. I feel like at that point, you kind of use your discretion, right, as a recruiter. Okay, it's been 6 times. They came on site, or like they did coding interview 6 times. They didn't make it. Maybe it's just not meant to be. But there's no blacklist.
The blacklist is like, it comes up again, but this one's a little bit different. Does postponing interviews multiple times look bad?
Yes, it does. Don't do that.
But it doesn't get them blacklisted, or does it?
It doesn't get you blacklisted, but they're gonna put you on hold for 6 months if you try to reschedule more than 3 times. Because, like, everybody's working. The engineers are working, we schedule, and then somebody comes in the same day they reschedule. Okay, like, life happens. You did it once, you did it twice. After the 3rd time, it's like, okay, if you're not committed, let's just wait 6 months, take more time to prepare, and then come back in 6 months.
Okay. How do manga FAANG companies view non-traditional candidates with or without a degree who have under 2 years of experience?
I personally love non-traditional backgrounds. I myself come from non-traditional background, but when you don't have your traditional CS degree, usually you compensate that with years of experience. So maybe having less than 2 years, you have to wait, right? Maybe get to good 3-4 years of solid software engineering experience before you'd come and try at like big tech companies. I've seen it all. I've seen folks without CS degrees coming from different backgrounds and make it.
Okay, let's see how we are on time. We've got 10 or so minutes. Does anybody want to come up on stage and ask a question just to mix it up a little bit? If you do, put your hand up. We probably don't have time to take too many, but I partly just want to see if anybody wants to do it, seeing as we're recording. Okay. Marina, how do you feel about a live studio audience question?
But yeah, let's have a discussion.
All right. Let's see who is first. Ray Moo. Hope I said that right, Ray. Come on up.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for your explanations. It's going pretty well. How are things on your side?
Excellent. We're having a blast. I'll stop talking now. It's over to you, Ray and Marina.
Thank you so much. Actually, I have one question, one short one. I'm a software engineer with a master's in software engineering from San Jose State University, finished 3 years ago. And I'm looking for an internship. I worked for 2 years, but I'm just looking for an internship, not a senior position. But I'm required to pursue another degree or something. So how can I get just an internship so I can prove myself? Do you have any tips for me? That would be really helpful. Thank you so much.
So I want to make sure I got it correctly. You're a staff level engineer, graduated 3 years ago, and trying to apply for internship role?
I worked for 2 years, and I hold a master's degree, finished 3 years ago. Just looking for an internship, so I can get a chance to prove myself and land a job through an internship.
But how many years of industry experience do you have?
2 years.
So 2 years of industry experience. Got master's degree 2 years ago?
3 years ago, I finished, and 2 years ago, for 2 years, I worked 2 years.
Okay. So let me ask you, why are you looking for internship role?
Just to get a chance so I can prove myself and land a job.
So you're not going to be considered for internship role because you already have 3 years of your experience and you passed the threshold to be considered for internship. It's usually, I think, 9 months after the graduation is when you still can be considered for internship. After that, you consider to be an industry candidate. So now you will need to look for like a junior level roles to have a chance to prove yourself.
Thank you so much for answering the question. Yes,
okay.
It does. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Thanks, Ray. Okay. I think the brave little toaster was next. Could have been Sean, could have been the brave little toaster. Sean, we'll get to you next. Brave little toaster, come on up.
Hi, I'm Bryce. I was just wondering, as maybe a mid-level role, I have a pretty strong foundation in data structures and algorithms, but when I get to the technical questions, sometimes I still struggle if there's like a twist or some kind of extra pizzazz on the question. As I'm studying, do you have any ideas on how I can focus on studying these kind of a little bit tougher technical challenges so I'm prepared for those coding rounds?
So when you practice on LeetCode, my recommendation is target medium-level problems and talk out loud. When you practice them, talk out loud because that's what's also evaluated. They want you to think out loud, not talk out loud. I'm sorry, and think out loud. They wanna hear your thought process, right? So when you're writing the code, you want to make sure like you explain the problem, then you start coding it, then you verify it. So all of that plus communication is how you getting evaluated at. Have a timer. Make sure you can solve medium-level problem in like 15-20 minutes. That's a positive signal that you're ready to go.
And do you recommend just going down a list of medium-level problems, or is there some way to target which medium-level problems I'm practicing?
So usually it's data structures, algorithms, binary trees, design patterns.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Bryce. Sean, let's have you come up, and then I'm going to jump back to a question from the Slido just to mix it up. Sean, come on up. Sean. Hello, Sean. Okay. Bye, Sean. Sorry. Overhaul mission.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, thank you so much for doing this. This was amazing. I only have one question, which is, I am a self-taught engineer, and I started in 2020 at Microsoft, worked up until 2024, layoffs. That's probably the most common story, but I am going back to school right now to pursue a master's in CS because my undergrad was in biology, and I just wanted to enhance my understanding of certain things like systems design, something I've never really learned or worked on. Of course, I've done a little bit of data structures and algorithms, but just really enhancing my theory. One thing I'm kind of concerned with is just, is it necessary to get a master's now, given that AI can do a lot of that work? And I recently did a hackathon. I got second place, and a lot of our coding was done with the help of AI. Of course, being someone who's done a lot of engineering, when bugs needed fixing or when we were trying to do things with the cloud, it was like I kind of was the go-to person because I had that concrete experience. But I'm curious, like, is a master's useful, or would you say industry experience would be something that's better to prioritize right now? Yeah.
That's a great question. From recruiting perspective, having master's degree never puts you above a person who just had a bachelor's degree, for example. You have a great experience at Microsoft, and I think that would be great for you. Master's degree, if you feel like you are missing something, then maybe that makes sense. But I feel like at 4 years working at Microsoft, you've done systems design, or at least you were involved in discussions, right? You kind of understand how to build a system from scratch. I think it's to you now if that's what you want. But from recruiter perspective, I never cared if you had master's degree or bachelor's degree or no degree whatsoever. Industry experience was most important.
Okay. Thank you. Is that same, does that still apply for like AI and ML roles, or would you say that a master's degree for AI and ML roles is a little bit more important?
So I think with ML and AI roles, it's more about, have you built machine learning models from scratch? Have you put them in production? Have you trained them? Have you feature engineered? And the same with LLM, right? Have you built LLM from scratch? And so again, it's more like industry. Now, if you are going master's degree, specializing in that area, and then you want to target those roles, then maybe that makes sense for you. But if you haven't done industry experience in AI and ML at Microsoft, and then you decided to go to, get master's degree in AI ML, you'll have more chances to get in those roles versus not, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. Exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's do one more live one, and then we'll finish off with the last question on the Slido. Thank you to all the live questions we're getting, by the way. Where are all you when we're doing other events? This is the most amount of people I've seen. You found out we're recording. You want to be on YouTube. What is it? But thank you for asking real questions and not coming up and saying anything that would get our recording taken down. Come on up, Asha Sharma.
Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me right now.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for providing so wonderful insight. I have a very small question. Well, first of all, to give you a little bit of context, I did my computing science degree in 2023. And then since then, I have been working in IT roles, like IT support roles, but not in software engineering. But then because I always wanted to do software engineering, I got to know that, okay, well, it requires DSA, like prepping in DSA and stuff like that. So I came across the interviewing.io community and I started grinding LeetCode and just doing a lot of DSA problems. But I just wanted to know, like, when I submit my resume and then a recruiter like you, Marina, you see my resume, how would you see my profile as? Like, would that be looked as a career gap or a career shift kind of thing? Or am I still a good candidate? to be able to apply for software engineering role?
I'll be transparent with you. If you haven't had any software engineering industry experience, it would be kind of hard to get into that industry unless you have like side projects to show, like GitHub to show.
Right.
But it's going to be at like very junior level.
Yeah, which I am targeting for right now. Like I'm
Yeah.
looking for any senior positions, and on the side, I have been like developing some side projects. And recently, I participated in that NASA competition, which happens worldwide, and I
Nice.
won the award for the best in local impact category. So I have some like side projects with me, but it's just like, well, right now my work title on my resume is not a software engineer; it is as a ID support technician.
So when you create your LinkedIn or resume, you lead with software engineer, former IT. You wanna lead with what you wanna be. Even the summary, software engineer. I'm a software engineer specializing in, I don't know, backend. Coming from IT support background, where I learned this, and that, whatever is related. I also work on this, and that projects. Here's the link. I won NASA competition. You gotta just showcase everything on the top of your resume and LinkedIn, anything that's related to engineering.
So I think what you're trying to say is just like be more open and public about your work, I guess.
Yes, because otherwise, I don't know if you want to be engineer.
Exactly. Totally. And then, well, that answers my question. And then the second question I have for you is, while I'm prepping for DSA and doing LeetCode, are LeetCode mediums enough, or should I also do some hard problems as well?
So usually hard problems are asked on like final rounds. Sometimes, usually it's medium hard. In the beginning, usually easy, medium. I would focus on medium first, nail them, make sure you like solve them easy. It comes out really quick. And then if you're like, okay, nail this, let me target hard.
Okay, because I definitely read when I was reading on the interviewing that blog post, like I know that Google is notoriously hard for asking hard problems. I was like, oh my god, like do I really put my focus into just hard problems and just like solve those, or I can just like slow down my trajectory and just like start solving medium and then medium to hard, like you said, right? So
Yeah,
that makes sense.
one step at a time. Nail the medium level first.
Okay, well, those were my questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. And kind of a good segue into the last question I'll ask from the questions we got in advance. Beyond putting specific accomplishments with numbers on your resume, which types of accomplishments are best?
So it depends on the job description, right? So if it's a senior level role, then your language needs to be at the senior level, at the scope. I led a team. I own the feature. I work cross-functionally, right? It just depends on which scope or which level you're targeting. That's where your language and accomplishments need to be.
Okay. The final question is from the audience. So I want to first say, Marina said she would do this without referencing her own business at all. She just wanted to jump on and do an event and meet some people and help as many people as she could. So thank you for doing that, Marina. And I was gonna tee you up anyway, but we actually got a question from Gregarious Octopus. If there's any time, could we ask Marina to talk a little bit about her one-to-one decode practice business? Curious to learn a little bit more. Maybe you can just do a brief summary of how you work with people. I'd love to know, like, what, I don't know, if there's obviously no silver bullet, but like, what are the three key things that you think you can help people with, or that you've seen that they need to work on to stand out? I hope that's not unfair. I didn't tell you I was going to ask that, but
No, it's totally fine. I feel like one main thing that people come with me is they just beaten up by the market, and their self-confidence and self-value is just so down. I have an engineer that I'm working with, and he was laid off. And the way he was just talking to me, the first meeting, his shoulders were down. You can see like the energy. He was so deflated. We started talking. He joined the program. So first thing we decided, okay, what roles we're gonna target, at what level we're gonna target. We are working on the resume, on LinkedIn optimization. He has some interviews along the way, so we are trying to prepare for the interviews, work on tell me about yourself stories. So my approach is very hands-on. It's one-on-one. I don't send you to any tutorials to watch. We are meeting on a weekly basis and basically just trying to figure out how we gonna get you the offer at the company you're interested in. So everything from networking to offer negotiations, positioning, telling the story the way it's appealing to recruiters, to the hiring managers, addressing the gaps, addressing the scope of the projects they worked on. And I work with my clients until they get the offer.
awesome. Well, thank you for taking some time out to come here and help our community. Thanks to everybody who asked questions, both in advance and on stage. Sorry we couldn't get to everybody. As I said, I've never seen that many people want to get on stage and ask a question. So Marina, clearly the information you were given was valuable, and people had lots and lots more questions. So yeah, apologies we couldn't get to everything, folks. But thank you. Yeah, I was gonna ask. We'll do it again. So save the questions, and we will be back. Sorry to everyone that we haven't done an event in a little while. The last one scarred me. It's good to be back, and we'll have another one in the next couple of weeks, I think. Thank you, Marina.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the questions. Hope it was helpful.
And I'm glad your voice held through all the way. That was incredible.
I feel like it's coming back at some point, but then it's going down and up and up.
Well, thank you for getting through.
You. Hey, bye.
All right. We'll wrap it up, folks. See you later. Thanks very much. Have a good one.